Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today I want to take a look at these two bad boys right here. And these are the campaign books from Memoir 44. Now, unfortunately, Volume 1 is not readily available. You may still be able to pick up a copy here or there, but largely out of circulation to an extent. Still do some searching on it, though. You might be able to find a copy pretty easy. Volume 2, however, is still in print. I just checked Cool Stuff Inc., and they have a few copies, 3 to be exact, at about $27.50 a piece. Now, you should probably go and check that out if you are a Memoir 44 aficionado, because this has a whole lot of stuff in it, and so does this. Let's talk about it. As we look at the campaign books, you need to know why I'm actually reviewing this. And the reason I'm actually reviewing these two is because I think that they are actually very worthy of your purchase because of what they contain. For the price of about $27 to $28, generally speaking, you're going to be able to get, first of all, 12 campaigns in Volume 1 and 11 campaigns in Volume 2. Volume 1 carries with it 51 new scenarios, and Volume 2 carries with it 46 new scenarios. So altogether, that's a whopping 97 new scenarios that you're going to be able to play through. If that were all, that would be worth the $27 to $28 that you're looking at paying for each of these volumes. But that's not it. It also provides a way to play through those scenarios where you follow those campaigns as they were ordered in real wartime history. So that provides another reason why you should purchase these if you are at all a Memoir 44 fan. So let's take a look at Volume 1, and then we'll take a brief look at Volume 2 as well to give you an idea what it is like to play through those campaigns. As we begin looking into the campaign book Volume 1, you'll see that the campaigns are here, and the campaigns take part in 3 different theaters of operation. You have the Battle of Normandy, the Operation Barbarossa, and the Unternehmen Vogelb, which is where the Germans tried to they launched an attack into the Netherlands and Belgium. So that's the 3 theaters that you're going to be taking place in, and there are no less than 12 different campaigns within those three theaters, and 51 new scenarios, as I already talked about, in those different campaigns. So you'll see that it does have some campaign notes, some special rules that will apply to most, if not all, of the scenarios. And then you actually come to the actual campaign charts. And campaign charts are read in a specific way, and they actually use a point system where a grand campaign can be used. So this is really ideal if you have one other person that is near you that you can play. Maybe it's a son or daughter, or a father or something like that that enjoys these kinds of reenactments. And you can take and go through each of these campaigns and keep a total points so that you have a grand winner, so to speak, at the end. But generally speaking, each campaign chart is going to start off with a scenario. This is the Allied side, and this is the German side of the same campaign. And so it has flavored text, of course, for both sides, giving you an idea of what you're supposed to be doing. There are special rules that will apply to one side or the other. It just depends on where they're listed. And then it also follows, for example, if you lose, you're following the red line. If you win, you're following a green line, that type of thing. But there is generally going to be 2 to 3, sometimes 4 scenarios played within each campaign. And you start with campaign with scenario 1, and then go to scenario 2, and then go to scenario 3. And if you see in campaign, that's where the scenario would end. If the Allies win, for example, with flanking Kane. If the Allies did not win here, they would have to go and play a 4th scenario to see who wins this part of the campaign. Okay, so if the Allies won here after withdrawal from Hill 112, then they would go to taking Cain on the next part of the grand campaign. If they did not win, but they go here to Hill 112, if they win this one, the campaign ends and then they go to the breakout. Okay, so the idea here is that you're providing a context, a storyline to all of these different scenarios, and you're actually playing through history. That's the really cool thing about it. Now, the way the different scenarios are put together are just like what you've probably been used to seeing already. There's a picture of the board that's being used, the different kinds of terrain, any special objective tokens that might be used, and obstacles or protections, and then conditions of victory and special rules for this scenario. Then also includes a historical background as well. So you're not noticing anything new, and that's one of the coolest things I like about Memoir 44. It stays the same. There's no confusion. A scenario in the original base game rule book or scenario book is going to look very, very, very similar, if not exactly the same as any scenarios that you find later on, unless of course you're talking about a breakthrough scenario or a overlord scenario. Earlier, I talked about a scoring system that is used to kind of keep track of who's winning and who isn't. Basically, you're going to keep track of how many medals were scored with each scenario. So, for example, here the Allies won 5 medals and the Axis won 3 medals. But on top of that, there are some special objectives that special rules within the campaign notes will allow for, and if you get that, these are bonus points for grand campaign at the end. So that's pretty cool. The one thing that I really enjoy about the campaign books is that it gives these victory event roles. Now, victory event roles are usually made to help the victor of a scenario, but not always so. They're usually going to help the victor, but not always. Generally, what happens is that a number of dice are rolled after the battle is done and before the second battle takes place. And when that happens, you come over here and this tells you what happens depending on the die roll. So for example, if an infantry symbol is rolled, your opponent must remove the infantry figure from an infantry unit of his choice. And then in armor, if armor is rolled, your opponent must remove 1 tank figure from a tank unit of his choice. So this is just kind of simulating logistical problems, difficulties after the battle occurred to simulate the effects of those battles. And I thought that was really an interesting thing that was incorporated into with the campaign books. Now, I've showed you mostly the campaign volume 1. Now let's take a look at Volume 2. Volume 2's campaign book is, of course, incredibly similar to Volume 1, with the caveat being that you're going to be going into some different campaigns and different theaters of operation. So here you're going to actually have 5 different theaters of operation. You have Island Hoppers, the Fall of Poland, Breakthrough Normandy, the Bicycle Blitzkrieg, and the Air Aces. As you can see, it's dealing a lot with the Pacific theater overall, but you do have some European theater things happening as well. So much like with Volume 1, there's basically the same kinds of things going on, but you have U.S. versus Japanese in some of these, and of course U.S. versus German in other campaigns. But it's generally the same thing, but it incorporates the Pacific theater realm. And like I said, there are breakthrough with this one. There are breakthrough scenarios that are included. But that were not included with Volume 1. Again, this is simply more of the same, and this is the one that's going to be more readily available right now. But Volume 2 is a good bridge over the two things because it does incorporate it, both European and Pacific theater battles and scenarios, whereas Campaign 1 really kind of focused on the European realm, the European theater. So that's the campaign books. All right, so that is Campaign Books Volume 1 and 2 for Memoir 44 expansion. I cannot tell you how much I think you would benefit from having this in as part of your Memoir 44 collection. Both of them provide a level of continuity to the battles that you fight, and if you are in a situation where you have another person that you're able to sit down with and play multiple scenarios at a time, or regularly, you play regularly with them, this would be invaluable to your collection of Memoir 44 because it does provide that continuity, that level of context for your battles. So if you are at all able to pick either of these up, I think either of them would be equally valuable for you. Now, understand that the scenarios that go through the Pacific Theater, you'll need the Pacific Theater expansion to go through those. But if you already have that, then either one of these would be good for you, I think. This one, if you only have the base game and if you can find it and get a hold of it, would probably be better for you. But if you already have some other expansions underneath your belt, either one of these will do in furthering your playability of Memoir 44 and having it stay interesting throughout. So for me, 2 big thumbs up for the campaign books for Memoir 44. Go out and check them out. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.